Still no flower bloom heads on this Mexican Tithonia, Mexican sunflower, the yellow. Some people consider perennial, I guess. It's a very overcast day today. No sun at all shining through the trees. This last shipment of plants they still do not really look happy, so I think I'll probably bottom soak them again and try to make them a little more happy. These figs and the mulberry, yerba mate, passion flower. Got a water trough that's been collecting rainwater off and on for a couple of years. So it's got all the tannins and duckweed and algae. You know, some of it's dead, some of it's alive. And just good rainwater. And we're gonna go ahead and put some more here. We're bottom soaking all of our plants. Sometimes I'll go through the top of them too. And most of the time, you know, the soil and all wicks this up. So, there we go. We got a little bit of water throughout this little concrete mixing bucket, which you can buy at Lowe's or Home Depot or wherever, any hardware store probably. Bottom soaking is like an amazing tool when you don't have a drip line or anything like that, especially with like soil mixes that aren't really holding in the moisture. So we have some even from commercial greenhouses and nurseries and stuff where, you know, they make their own soils. Sometimes they just don't get the right mix of everything, maybe too much sand or something, and you know, they dry out really fast. So bottom soaking, like we got a hibiscus that we have to bottom soak. Now what I've also seen is when you have pineapple guavas in buckets, they a lot of times will get really stressed when they're not when they dry out a little bit, and they will actually die. I've had some die just from maybe not having, when they're showing signs of stress, not having water for like 5 or 7 days, and they just die. When they show signs of stress, bottom soak them, and they seem to perk up within 24 hours. Still the little bees just working their way up here. Mosquitoes are horrible again because of the overcast day. No sunlight to keep the mosquitoes at bay. No super cold weather to keep them at bay. What I've kind of noticed about the mosquitoes is if we have a freeze or a frost, they come back with a vengeance. As soon as there's just warm enough weather, you know, 58, 60 degrees, whatever, they will come back like twofold, because I guess they're starving, you know, for that 24 hours of, you know, being cold and not being able to eat some reason, and it's bad. So we gotta check out our pumpkin, our giant pumpkin, the first one we found again, see what it's looking like. Ooh-wee. Oh my gosh. I can't even pick it up one-handed, especially at least left-handed. It's hard to tell how many pounds that thing is. It could be 25 to 40 pounds already. As you can see, this is probably new growth from the last day or so. Even as it's, you know, maturing and growing the pumpkins, it's still growing every day. And still, whatever's on the ground is putting these kind of like roots. I don't know if they're aerial roots or whatever you call them. Kind of like some plants will grasp a tree, you know, with these kind of aerial roots. And then if they hit the ground, they'll actually dig in there and I guess get the nutrients out of the ground. But yeah, these guys are, you know, pulling nutrients from everywhere. I think if we do squash or pumpkins next year, we're going to probably move them to a different area. And so that it's okay if they take over, but we will probably, you know, we don't have any area where there's like 100, 200 feet where it can just roam free without being in the way. But we'll put it in a different area where there's generally not much else growing, and just kind of move the vines back on themselves, you know, and keep them a little more contained, since we kind of know what how it grows now, and that we're not really supposed to cut the vines off when they get too long. Again, here's our number 2, our second pumpkin. It looks like it's already got a little something right there from insect damage or something. See, probably 8 or 10 pounds. I noticed is when they're kind of in the small stage, they seem, you know, just estimating that they get, you know, gain about a half a pound a day. But once they go to that big stage, they must be gaining, you know, over a pound a day, maybe more. I mean, without like using both my hands or getting a scale or something, can't really tell how much weight that biggest one is. But it could be in that 35-40 pound range already. So these guys have been bottom watering for a few hours, even though it just looked like a few minutes ago from the video. It's been several hours since I, you know, recorded anything for this video. But I just wanted to go back and say that the first time I seen people like bottom watering stuff, like, you know, the main thing is African violets. So that's what introduced me to trying to do it with other plants. You can water everything from the top, and then it just, you know, really dry stuff will just go directly to the ground, barely touching the roots. And doing it this way, the really dry stuff, now I do have one, like a beautyberry, that has been potted in a certain mix that does not stay moist when you bottom water it. It'll like perk up, but within a day it just has a terrible mix. But most mixes will do okay for a while. You know, you bottom water it for a day, take it out. But yeah, we've seen that method in a lot of greenhouse nurseries and stuff with the African violets. And you know, some people say you cannot top water or get the leaves wet and stuff like that, but I guess some nurseries are saying that's not true. It's actually temperature differences between the air and the water temperature hitting those leaves, putting the plants into like a shock and like discoloring the leaves, making the leaves die and stuff like that. So I just figured I would throw in that little tidbit of information, but it works for other stuff other than African violets. So I just seen some slight yellowing on some of these red navel oranges. Look at there. Got a little bit of that yellow tinge starting there. A little bit right there. Won't be long, I guess. No, we got another grapefruit that fell early. Dang it. Probably ready to eat. We'll see. It's kind of really smooth. That's very strange, but it's got bumps on it. Wonder if that's some kind of insect damage. This is our seedling grapefruit again. You can see some of the redness coming out. It's later in the day, and we've got a little bit of a sprinkling going on. The mosquito activity has ramped up quite a bit, so we got to kind of be on the move here. Love to do, you know, a lot more updates with Wetland Zone 1, but as you can see, it's full of weeds. And I've said this several times on several videos lately. The Biden's alba are under like full seeding. We would just have to throw away our clothes as soon as we were done walking through all this stuff, so that's not good. Hopefully we'll get a nice freeze that'll kill these guys down, and then we can do some of the greatest pollinator plants as far as native Florida pollinators. But once they go to seed, nobody really likes them. I'll show you guys something weird. Look at that Biden's alba flower. I've never seen one like deformed like that. That is strange. Anyway, we didn't get any beauty berries this year for jams or anything, which kind of sucks, but we hope every year we hope that things will get easier, better. We'll have more time to do stuff, more resources, especially with the kids. Having them make or help make our first jams and stuff together, and teaching them a little bit more about cooking and stuff like that, and canning.